Hey guys, give me a second. The train's going by. Well, hello to one and all. I had gotten a few messages from some of you people that do actually watch my channel. It's not like a huge channel or anything like that, and I know I haven't been able to go live in in quite a bit, but I am. Well, I'm sitting here waiting for anybody to come in, especially hopefully YG sees this. I don't know YG why you didn't see. Probably Amy didn't see either because last week I went live and I do not remember anybody like actually coming in the group, and then it showed there were people there and then it showed there were not people there. I don't know. I'm not sure if the algorithms messed up. Some of the other people that stream have mentioned to me also that they've been having issues streaming as well. Well, anyway, as I wait, oh, it looks like somebody at least came in here. Hello, Lexi. How are you? Hello to you. Anyway, Lexi, I was just saying that I have not. I did go live last week on Friday, and it was weird. I don't know. I guess a lot of people did not see my live last week. But anyway, what I did was, and I'm doing the same thing this week. So last week when I was walking in the Wendy actually had sent me a message saying that they had tons of people out that were that were body routing, and I noticed before he even called me, it was weird. I noticed that there was a huge Cubs game last Friday. It was like a big game. I'm not sure exactly why it was so big. Friday games in town are pretty big games, but it was like, I don't know, that was possibly the most, and it wasn't a, cross game. Give me a second, guys, because I'm at the train. Well, I'll keep talking to you. If you can't hear me, I'm sorry. But, last week, I noticed a lot of people, a lot of like their body routers were out, and they were at like they were at the train station. They were by like Wrigley. It was like pretty crazy. And then I decided to follow like a couple people, and I followed a couple people, and I noticed that what they did was they had literally like gone into the neighborhood. So first of all, by Wrigley, they had people standing like on the platform of the red line. But I realized why it's so significant for them, because that platform there is the brown, red, purple. I believe at least those three lines. I think and there's connections to even other, other trains as well. So I know that it's a pretty hot spot, and they thank you, Lexi. I appreciate that. There are so many. I know it is good that we're growing, Lexi. I'll tell you, but this is exactly what I was saying at the beginning, is that I've been going live, but when I started off, I was with the protesters pretty much from I had been like at war, let's call it that, with Scientology since 2008, when I was very young, and they destroyed one of my friends' lives. And I've spoken about this on my channel if you want to go watch any of the other live streams that I've done. But essentially, I have not, I've always been at odds with them. And then when I saw them opening up an ideal org, or whatever they want to call it, in Chicago, so I went out there. I did not go live because I was just supporting everyone else there. I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to, yeah, I do follow them. I'll tell you in a second. So I wasn't trying to like go live or anything. And then eventually some people said it's better to have more cameras on, whatever. And it actually was, what kicked it off was actually when Solomon came and visited Chicago, I went live. So that was like the first time I went live. And it was more for like safety, just to make sure there was like a camera at all times. They had called the cops and stuff like that, whatever it was. Anyway, my point is, last week, so I started following them, and they came to this park it's not like, I don't really care if they know where I live. At least one of the condos that I'm at for work. I live in the city for most of the time, and and I was telling them, and they came, and there is this beautiful little park right across the street from this church. Okay, beautiful church, an actual church, very active in this community, very active in this community, they do a lot of great things actually. This church in the community, but anyway, they actually own this property which they made public, which includes a park. And yes, all the parents here know I'm live, and the only pain in the butt is the train constantly passing by. But anyway, so I noticed that they came to the park. There's like a few benches, and they were sitting like right there, and they were sitting by that black bench, and then there's another bench with a lot of kids. Even though the parents know that I'm live, I don't want to like necessarily throw the kids all over it. But it's a park where a lot of people come out and just chill out here. They have like a lot of nice events, like every weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They always are doing something for the community, and it's always going on in this park. And they must have recognized that. And it is actually a pretty, I don't know, call it gentrified, whatever you want, neighborhood where it's like opportunity for them to try to break in, and it's very close. They must know this place because it's really close to the other. Who is that? High Bridge 1872. What's up? And so I noticed that they came to the park, and it just pissed me off. Wow, I was so angry. And so I just sat by the park. I didn't even go live initially. I was like, literally, it was like the most angry I had ever been. I was like almost shaking. And I was like snagging all the tickets from people. I was asking the parents of all these kids if they understood what it was. And they were like, no, they said that we can, whatever it was. Eventually, they all understood exactly what it was. You know, sometimes all you have to say is Tom Cruise to a lot of these people, and they know what I'm talking about. But point is, so today I went, all the way out. I was out by the org like much earlier, but they shut it down right away. And I know I saw some other streamers that were out there too. But from now on Tuesdays, I try to go out to the org as well. But on Fridays, from now on, it's convenient for me. And I go to the train stations and I stake out. And then I come to this property, which is a church, a beautiful park with a bunch of families and 2 train stops. And then Irving Park is like a big, up and down Irving Park. There's like a lot of things to do. You guys might know, anybody from Chicago will know that's like this, where on Irving Park, where the cemetery is. That's the general area, like the corner of, let's just say like the corner of Irving Park and like Sheridan, essentially, or Broadway, both right there. But anyway, point is that I made it my mission last week, and I came out today, and they were here. And I'll tell you, the most interesting thing is that I am blown away that they were with, at least for sure, without any doubt, they were with like, there was like 5 of them. 2 were for sure like Scientology, like I recognized them, and they were wearing their Harry Potter stuff and everything, so I knew it was them. And then there was definitely 2 individuals that were like literally had name tags and clearly from like the LDS church, and they were together, like they were hanging out together. And then it appeared the one person that had a conversation with me, I didn't bring this up last week because I didn't really want to say it, but I don't really care this week. I don't really care about saying it. The one person that had a conversation with me, it appeared like he was like, I think he saw my kippah, my yarmulke, the Jewish hat, and he started a conversation about Islam and stuff like that. I really do believe that there's a strong chance that he's part of Nation of Islam. He definitely was not like what most people would consider Islamic, because like one of my closest friends that lives in this neighborhood is like very Islamic, and he explained to me all the differences and why it's so significant to consistently point out. You grew up around there. Oh, you went to, okay, I walk by there all the time when I'm going to Jewel, where they have like some kosher food on, that's like by Addison. That's actually last week where I bumped into all the recruiters. Yeah, so I don't care about saying where I'm at. It's pretty clear where I'm at. You know where I'm at by this church and the park. It's pretty much like the nicest little haven in the neighborhood, besides the fact that the train tracks go by and you'll hear the trains 1,000 times over. But everybody's super cool here, and like the parents even know that I'm like, they know that I'm live streaming. Everybody knows me here. And sometimes I come out here to run, work out, whatever. And yeah, see these little kids. Good kick. It's awesome. It's so beautiful. These families are here. And that's what pissed me off so much, is that they came out here and they were effing sitting there trying to pass out their crap. And it was like, there were people that did not know who they were. And like, they, you know, it's a lot of families out here. It's a very, I'd say like most of the community here is like, really most of the community. It's like right by the Yisroel Brownstein Center, if you guys know what that is, but it's like a very LGBTQ area. There's not a lot of houses. It's mostly like buildings, like nice little buildings like that, or older Chicago buildings like that one. It's just like it's a young neighborhood. It's like a lot of young people, and there are plenty of people that don't know about it, and they make it out to be, to all these people, like they're this super open organization that welcomes everybody and every denomination, and all religions are welcome, and everybody, and it's such BS. It's just such BS. And so yeah, last week was the first time I ever felt like in my own little neighborhood that I live in during the week. During the weekends, a lot of times I go much further north, where like the neighborhood I grew up in is. Like my parents live out there still, and I have some siblings that live out there still. Anyway, point is that this is, though, the neighborhood that I live in for most of the time. And I am super frustrated last week when they came out here and they were like, my friend knows about this. My friend Muhammad knows about this. And he was out here too initially. And he was like, I never saw him. I said this last week. I never saw him so animated. He's like a very quiet, like, really like spiritual, very like loving, like, and he was so angry. He was furious. But yeah, they came out here, and ever since then. So I said every Friday, first of all, I do check because I'm walking by the trains. I do just take a quick peek. But during the week, this park is not that populated. Like maybe during the summer a little bit, like maybe, you know, like lunch hour, people come and sit and eat their lunch and stuff. And there's a little spot where people come and sit and eat, and that's exactly what they were doing last week. It was so clear they knew what they were doing. They were sitting with like 5 of them, so they felt like they were like a little bit of a force, and they were like, you know, pretending to like have lunch. No one was eating. Like I specifically sat there watching them. No one took a bite of food, but they made it seem like they were just sitting there and chilling, and the kids are running by and they're like, hi, and then they're talking to the parents, and it's not like, you know, they didn't know who these kids are. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to you, Lenny. Shabbat Shalom to you. But yeah, so a lot of the parents had no clue who, you know, what the Church of Scientology is. And yeah, so after last week, every Friday I'm gonna be coming out here for a couple hours. That's what I kind of told myself I would do. I don't know if there's like a problem in the algorithm or whatever. It's not like I have any strikes or anything on YouTube. So I don't know why, but a few people messaged me and said, like, more than like some people that like you know, that have like my contact info actually reached out to me, and some of just the viewers left messages in like 1 or 2 of my videos that are pinned, and they mentioned that they haven't seen me out, but I've been out. I have been out, so I don't know why. I don't know what the exact reason is, but I don't know why YouTube, it doesn't appear to be working perfectly. I still have this, like, I'm not like a big conspiracy theorist or anything, but I do have a belief that Scientology, like, you know, if they see something, if they see certain channels or whatever, they do try their best to shut things down and whatever. For anybody watching this on the replay, I do want to say that there is an aspect where, like, I'm sure everybody has recognized, and that's the only reason I'm willing to bring this up, because I am the last person to consider myself a leader in this. I do not consider myself a leader in this movement. I do not even consider myself, I would say, like, you know, I actually do feel like it's a movement. I actually do feel like I'm part of a group, and people are friendly and stuff, but things have gotten a little bit political, and it's just not a good whatever. And so I'm pretty much as anti politics as you could possibly be. So for me, it was a little frustrating the past like week or so. Just like not, I really don't even know what's going on. I just get like some information from one person, some information from another person. But I do want to address the fact that I have, because somebody messaged and asked me how I felt about something, and I made it clear that each person's, they have their own autonomy and they have their own ability to make their own life choices, and they will do what they will do. And I have no side. It's not that I don't have as they say, a dog in the fight, because of course I do, because I care that, Osa, I'm sure, loves the fact that people are, people refer to this type of stuff as infighting. I'm sure that they love it, and that's bad. Otherwise, it is what it is, man. People are going to have difference of opinion. People are going to have different tactics and different ways that they approach every situation. And I can appreciate that. I can respect that. I can sit back and allow people to be, have a difference of opinion. But I guess when there seems to be like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say hate, but like, when it just seems like when people are getting too much drama, yes. The focus is ending on Scientology. I can't read so well right now, guys, because I don't have my regular glasses on. It's really sunny outside. I love the sun, but it does affect my eyes. It's way too much drama. Yes, the focus is on ending Scientology, and people have lost their focus. And you know what? You bring up a good point. I'll say that's actually, sometimes I'm speaking and I'm trying to make a point, and it almost seems like, what are you trying to say? That's actually what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I have nothing to do with anything besides trying to end Scientology, and I would like to be friendly, at least, with every single person that's involved in it. I don't know any politics. I specifically, when people bring up other things, especially like politics in the world, that they think like it's a good opportunity for them to like, I try to literally, like, I could just tell when it's about to come up, and I'll literally hit, I'll hit mute on the thing, because I don't even want it to be on my channel ever. It's not, do I have beliefs and feelings about things? Yeah, no one will ever know exactly what they are unless I tell them. So I think some people assume, others don't assume. I don't care one way or another, but what I do care about is that I'm not getting involved in anything, whether it's Scientology politics, whether it's world politics, foreign affair politics, domestic politics. I'm just not involved. It's just not what I do. I feel very strongly about that. Okay, YG. Hello, Brachala, Nishamala. How are you? Guten Shabbos. YG, I saw your message. I wrote you back a message too. Next time, just email me, and I'll let you know. I don't know why you didn't see last week. I went on. I did not miss last Friday's, and I was explaining YG where I'm at before. It'll come back when I start. You can go back to the video and understand. But I'm at a spot where Scientology last week came to, and I did eventually go live for a few hours, literally up until I had to go for Shabbat. Yeah, last week I was here because I followed some of the recruiters here, and it's in the neighborhood that I live in, and it's really sad and it's really messed up that I have to wave to her. Hold on. I can't see it. Oh, there you go. Hey, Brachala, Nishamala. Tell your mommy to actually check, and then she'll see if I'm actually live. Anyway, so I was saying YG, why I'm here. I hope she saw me wave to her. I can't see so good in the sun. My eyes are already bad from injuries and stuff. And but I just want to say that I feel very strongly about what they're doing here by this park, and it made me really angry. So I came by like a couple hours ago, and I was not able to go live yet because I was on the phone, work-related stuff. But I definitely, it's the most, like, I hope that they show back up so that you guys could see. It's the most animated I've ever gotten, like, doing this. I feel very strongly. They literally, like, so many beautiful families and people here that have no clue what Scientology is, and they make themselves sound so appealing. And they were people from the LDS church. Those people literally had name tags, and it was clear what they were doing. And I believe one of the individuals was also from the Nation of Islam. There were like 5 of them, if I remember correctly. There were at least 5. 2 Scientologists, 2 individuals from the LDS, the Church of LDS, and then I believe one was like Scientology / Nation of Islam. One of the people that, one of the people that probably is involved in both. And it's a really hot spot right where I'm at in this neighborhood, and it's also not far at all from where their old org used to be. So it could be that they used to come here more often, and I just didn't know that. It's I have no idea. I really don't. But what I know is that last week I saw it, and then I said, I did look first to make sure they were shut down on Clark, and I went earlier. If I'm out there for work, I'll always walk by with my phone. I'm not live because I feel bad like going on and hopping right off. Like if people are like coming on, I just don't feel like it's the nicest thing to do. So I don't necessarily go live. I just quickly come by, and then hopefully they shut everything down, and then I'll kind of just see what's going on. But I saw there were people out there, at least 1 or 2 people out there earlier, and so no one's at this park, so I figure why not. It's an opportunity for me. It also makes it easier for me to go a little bit longer because of I just have to be done by sunset, and sunset's pretty late these days, but still I'd rather not have to take the train like 1 hour before sunset. It's just easier. So yeah, I come on, especially because there are people from like the East Coast, like YG and whatnot. And then this coming up week, there's a holiday, like a Jewish holiday, which YG, I hope you and Yecheskel made it all so far 45 days, almost 49, right? But yeah, so I figured that I planned on going live today. I thought I was going to go live a little bit earlier, but I just wasn't able to, and now I am. It's like 80 degrees, but like there's a nice breeze, and there's a lot of kids and everybody out in the park, and they're all having a good time. And I think it's horrible that Scientology feels the inclination to come and disrupt the unity that families actually have. And again, it's like by this church. The church owns most of this property, and there's such a, I have to say, they're like, see, there's like a school. Does it say? Maybe you guys could see. Saint. It's a lot of Latina individuals, Latin American. St. Mary of Lake School of the Lake. But this church is like an older, very well-established church. It's a real church, a church that actually does service in the community. They actually do help out. Good, you're still counting. Okay, good. I am too. I was good this year. But anyway, so there's this church right here, and they made this park public property. And it's like, I don't know, it just made me so angry that Scientology was here. Maybe it's also because it's where I live during the week, like really, really, really close to this park. But I think it's also just because of, it's so clearly a family-oriented spot. So it's so clear what they're targeting. And that's what I think made me the most angry, is like, they know exactly what they're targeting. And like, they play dumb, like, oh, we're just here to offer. It's just such BS, like literal BS. I can't take it. It's like, it makes me sick. So that's why I ended up here. But before YG came on, I'll let you know, YG, I was just mentioning that you're probably not like too deeply into the whole, maybe you are, into the whole Scientology, anti-Scientology, whatever community, but there's been like a lot of politics recently, and there's just been unnecessary, in my opinion, politics, and I'm very not like that. I could not be farther from the type of person to want to get involved. I do not want to be involved in any politics ever, especially on this channel. I just do not. And up until like this past week, I think it was fine. But then I literally started feeling, not me, no one was mean to me. I want to make that clear. I'm not a victim of anybody's harassment or anybody's, nobody said anything to me. The most some people have done is they've tried to approach me regarding other political aspects that are part of the world we're living in right now, and I just shut down immediately the opportunity to have that conversation. It's never going to happen, not on this channel, probably never publicly. It's not like I don't have opinions, of course I do, but you'll never know what those opinions are unless I have a conversation about it. And I'm not saying that I don't or won't have conversations, but definitely not on this channel. Like somebody mentioned earlier, the goal here is to shut down Scientology. The goal is not to that's just the goal. If people are making money along the way, great, good for them. That's awesome. You know, like any movement, you know, it's like it's absolutely. I think there's nothing wrong with, you know, people building up a channel and getting a lot of viewers, and even if it's just for this, you know, streaming and making money off of it. When I started this, I had no thought that I was ever going to like make any real money off doing this. I am this summer going to be, and YG, you should think about this, like it's the weekend right before Shavasar Batanos, and so that like Friday, and then like that Friday, Motzei Shabbos, and then Sunday and Monday. Monday is actually the day before this one Jewish day, whatever. Something happened to me on that day, and I'm going to be in Iowa, and I'm going to be live a lot that weekend. Yeah, and I would not have necessarily been live on this channel for that purpose, but I feel like it's an opportunity to for people to just see. I asked many people in the protesting community and other people that I know that come in my live, and they were interested, so I'm going to go live. It'll be fun, and yeah. So yeah, that's my goal, is to this summer to, and so my point is that, you know, if I were to, there's a lot of people every year that watch a few interviews that I do throughout the year, but I've never made a penny off of it. Like, I'm, you know, whatever CNN, Fox News, the local channels over there, and you know, people that put up their, like there's an organization in Chicago called the L'chaim Center, which means like the center of life, you know, for life. They have this thing called the Wheel of Wisdom, and it's like a series of speakers and stuff, and they've had me speak a bunch of times, and I don't know what they make off of it. It definitely is on YouTube, but that was prior to me changing over my channel to this current one, where I just decided to, you know, focus on everything and try to do it all on one channel. I don't know if that's messing up the algorithm for me, but yeah, I don't know if people saw last week. I'm happy, YG, I know you mentioned that you didn't see me. I'm surprised you didn't see me last week, but it is possible. There's been a lot of like lack of consistency from YouTube's end of things. Bridge 1872. The shakeups occurring in a natural process in new movements like these. As it grows, so many different approaches and personalities. Pick the ones you like and support them. I agree with that. My point earlier, I will just say my point earlier, that was off the back of the comment that was made, is that I actually do still agree with one thing. There should not be any hate, animosity, or like real, like almost like full-out wars going on between different streamers. I feel, that's my personal opinion. That's me. That's just my opinion. I don't know what other people feel like. My opinion is there should be zero hate. If you have a difference of opinion, you're different, you have a different way of approaching things, that's great. If you're frustrated with the way things are going, and you do what you got to do. If you can make it, I always say, you got to always ask yourself. It's like the famous thing in AA. You got to always ask yourself, like, do I have the power to change anything? If you do not have the power to change anything, you should feel serenity by it. Feel high. I can't do anything about this. Wow, that's amazing. I'm frustrated, but I can't do anything about this. And then there's the idea of, if you are able to change something, have the courage to do so. Literally the courage, because it's not easy to stand up for yourself or for an idea or for thoughts or whatever. It's not an easy thing. So most of all, though, is, and this is what that community believes, and I know, like, in all of my years of working, the most significant aspect when I see people struggling with almost anything in life, but especially, in that in the recovery community, I'll tell you for sure, trauma and substance abuse are the two things I specialized in. And I just feel like the most important thing is knowing the difference. What you can control, what you can't control. That's my thing. It's just know what you can control, know what you can't control. And if you can't control something, do not make it about you. That's my only thing. And I promise you, I'm not referring to any one person, because I don't even know what sides I would take or whatever. I only get frustrated if I see we're not trying to make things worse in this world. And so, yeah, I do agree. There's always going to be some kind of issues. The only part that I feel strongly about is there really should not be a lot of like hate or any kind of like animosity or towards people. That's my only thing. You can have a difference of opinion, and like I said, if you feel like you could change something, if you feel like people are protesting inappropriately, you have the opportunity to actually make a change, go ahead, by all means, all the more to you. Do what you can. If you do not have that, then you don't have it. It's like, that's my little take on it. I just feel, and I feel pretty strongly about it. I do not think that I do not like when I see hate, or what I perceive at least as that like real animosity. It just, for me personally, I feel like it's such a waste of energy in life. Again, if there is something, first of all, for sure, if you truly are a leader in a movement, let's say you really are a leader in a movement and you feel like certain measures need to be taken, that's fine. Like I said, know what you can control, know what you can't control. If you can control something and you believe that it needs to be done, have the courage to do so. If you can't control it, then you should have serenity that you can't control it. Try not to get frustrated with other people about the fact that you can't control it, because there's nothing you can do. So, thank you, DT. I appreciate that. That's just my, the difference is privately. Exactly. Yep. You guys are both making good points. Bridge 1872. But this is fine. Like, in the chat, you guys are having a little bit of like, you guys might even agree and not realize that you guys agree with each other. You guys might not agree completely, but regardless, it's at least being done appropriately. I've never seen any hate in my chat, which makes me happy. And I only get information from other people. I do feel blessed that people are not like, I've received zero hate from other people towards me. I have to just say that. I want to make it clear. I'm not talking about like being a victim of this or anything like that. I have not been affected in my personal life of being approached or told one thing or another. I do like saying this as the chat goes on. I do have permission, like, from all the parents that are in this park, and I'm here because Scientology. You guys can look at the beginning of this video, or last week's video was awesome. Hopefully it's still up there. I'll have to check. Maybe it just was privatized. I don't know. But anyway, my point is that at the end of the day, there's not that much that I can do about it. All I could say is that I wish there wasn't that component of animosity or what I perceive as hate. And I do believe that we should be united in the cause, and we don't have to agree with each other. But I saw one person sent me just an email, someone that it was kind of like well said. It wasn't just an email directed towards me. It was an email directed towards multiple channels. Just that at the end of the day, that, we have to recognize that we don't have to agree, but like there's no reason for it becoming so political that there's literally, like angst. I do agree, by the way, when you have organizations, when you have this type of stuff, it's going to come up. These issues will arise. I 100% agree with that. I could not agree more, in fact, with that idea. I do believe that yeah, in these environments, you're going to have different personalities, you're going to have different everything, and it's going to come up. Um, because they are afraid you will choke them out. Oh, yeah. I hope that's not the reason, but that is funny. These are high stress, high dangerous situations. Yeah, everyone can learn. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yep. I think that's also well said. Don't bring down others, but they do come up. And yeah, it's how it's exactly correct. It's exactly what I'm saying. You don't have to agree. It's how is it handled? How do you respond to the experience of feeling one way or another? It is all about how it's handled. I agree with everything, all the comments. I think everybody here is pretty much on the same page. It's just a matter of whether or not, there might be people in the community that you guys know, in this community, we'll refer to it as a community. There might be people that you guys know, personally, and I don't necessarily know those people. You might know, something that happened to a friend of yours, and I don't know that piece of information. From what I know, I just I don't think that there should be any like significant, like, yeah, I think it's just, I use the word hate because it's the strongest, it's the strongest way for things to go down, and it's the most significant from my perspective. Is it's not about difference of opinion. It's like it's like you said, it's how you deal with it. If you don't agree with somebody, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to war with them? How are you going to do it? I will say this again. I said this once. I will say it one more time. If you really are a leader and other people have accepted you as a leader in the movement, or you really have a lot more control, like I will say this. I will say at least one name. I will say for sure Will in LA. It's my opinion. This is my opinion. I believe that, when I see him trying to encourage people to act a certain way or whatever, I view him as a leader. That's for sure. I don't know everybody else in the community. I was watching. He's the reason that I found out that the org opened up in Chicago. I had been watching him before he stumbled onto Scientology. And it was just interesting with the way that it all went down. But I do believe that he has like a pretty good outlook, and I think he knows when to, be vocal. And one of the points he's made to numerous people is that just because he approaches things a certain way or he acts a certain way, it doesn't mean that that's the way everybody else should be acting. It's not like there's one way to approach this. You'll also notice that I get the feeling like he knows when it's appropriate to be really loud and when it's appropriate to just be, more of just like a force by being his presence sometimes is enough. Other times he might feel like he needs to do more. I would, in my opinion, I would defer to, if I were in LA and specifically Will came over to me and said, listen, I don't think, I would take that very seriously. I would take what he has to say very seriously. But, that's me. That's my opinion. There's like, just, there you go. That's my opinion. My opinion is that he is somewhat of a leader, whether he chooses to be or it just comes naturally or whatever it is. But his presence does kind of bring command, as they say, a certain amount of respect. But I think that the most significant things that I've heard him say are when he's, kind of says to some people when they're being too belligerent or they're just out there for the chasing, views and clicks and money and whatever it is that you're trying to do. He's vocal about it, and I think he has every right to do so. He also doesn't like when people speak for him. That's why there's certain things he's said that I would per se. I can't think of one thing right now off the cuff of my hand, but there are certain things that he said that I've actually agreed with. I've agreed with it, and it wasn't necessarily easy for him to just say it. It was some very significant things that occurred, and he expressed himself, and you know, I think that he was correct in his situation, and that doesn't mean that other things couldn't have been done to make sure that other people were more kind of a part of what. It just means that I think that he was right for feeling a certain way, and it's just my belief that, like, you know, other people might look at certain things and be like, well, it could have been done this way. It could have. Yeah, there's a lot of situations out there that could be done a million different ways. He literally is the one that pretty much spearheaded the everything. I mean, everybody pretty much has to admit that on some level, I've been at odds with Scientology since 2008, and I'm not going to sit here and say I've been protesting since 2008. It's not true. I only started coming out when I knew there were other people out there. Whenever I was passing by the old org here in Chicago, which is like not far from where I'm standing right now, yeah, I absolutely said something if I saw them on the streets, and yeah, I would. There was a time when I was younger and I was, a little bit more like hot-headed. I was like an older teen. And I was really angry. I was really angry and hurt. And they destroyed someone I loved very, very, very much. And they destroyed that family. And I'm angry about it. But I know I'm angry. So I try to know where I'm at. And then I try to ask myself, what can I control and what can't I control? And let me see what some of you guys had to say. I do agree about the high stress and issues. How it's handled, I agree with that too, Bridge. Yeah, DT, you seem to feel the same way. If anyone feels they can handle it better, then they should get in the game, lead by example themselves. Exactly. That's exactly correct. That's what I'm referring to, by the way, when I refer to Will. I think that that's what he does. He does things by example. And if you have a problem with it, he doesn't mind people saying, I disagree with X, Y, and Z. And if it's not in the heat of the moment, he will have a very intelligent conversation with anybody about it. But he has every right to have his feelings about the way things are done, especially because he really was a pioneer in this. Let's just say he really was a pioneer. Let's use that word. He was at least a pioneer. He doesn't call himself a leader. He doesn't say I'm a leader of this gang of, whatever. But he was a pioneer in this whole movement that's been going on now for quite some time. But yeah, I agree with all you guys. Everything you guys are saying, I agree with. A 7-day occupation. Oh, right on the right. I know a little bit about this. Was a huge win itself. Yes. Let's stay positive and continue to build up the boots on the ground. I agree. Oh, when you saw Laura upset, so if you want, you can, without taking sides. What I didn't see what she was so upset about. I heard that she had gotten upset, but maybe you guys can educate me. I wasn't sure what it was. I saw she got very emotional. I also felt bad that she had to feel that way, but I don't know what happened. Everyone can take a breath, regroup, redefine their role in the cause, and get back on track. I completely agree with that. There's no one that I've met so far in the community, at least anybody that's really out there, for this purpose. No ulterior motives, no nothing. The people that I've met, and again, that includes people that want to make money off streaming or whatever. Those people still, in my opinion, I don't call that an ulterior motive in the sense of being a part of the movement. When I say ulterior motive, I mean when it's the only reason you're doing this is because of being an influencer or a streamer or whatever, which I don't see that often. I don't. And from what I've heard from other people, I don't see it that often. Will, there's plenty of other things he's been doing. I know that Chris and I know that I love some of the content that Jessica puts out. And she does this professionally on some, I guess you would say, as well, but they're still in it for the right reason when they're doing this. And so yeah, everybody regrouping and coming back is a great way to approach this. Absolutely. I don't think it's bad that people are expressing their feelings. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we can avoid the hateful kind of expression of things. That's all I'm saying. For 1 second, guys, I'm going to go with a little pocket time, but I'm right here still talking. That's my main thing. My main thing is just that people should recognize who they are in this situation. What can they do? You know, ask themselves whether or not they're behaving appropriately. Try to be as honest as possible with with themselves, and then move forward. I agree. It's just like this is all things that could be put to rest. I don't see any reason why any of the tumultuous things that have been going on can't just be put to rest. They can. They absolutely can be. So I completely agree with that. Yeah, sometimes you just need to take a step back and ask yourself a couple questions and, answer those questions in your own mind and then take action. And I really do go back to that. For me, it's really like, I just like, ever since I've been, one of the most fascinating things when I was first told that, I'll never forget, I remember the first time I was actually like overseas, and I was with a bunch of people that were struggling with like substance abuse or whatever. And I'll never forget that statement. I just thought it was brilliant. As somebody who's in the field of psychology, I thought it was absolutely one of the most brilliant things that I've seen in the public world, that's like, just out there. Information for anybody that can just be obtained. Any information, sorry about that, guys. Taking a drink of water. It's really hot outside. But any information that I've ever heard has been phenomenal, coming from that one statement. It's all recognizing what you can control, what you can't control, and kind of how to experience, for your own sanity, how to experience the world if you can control things, and how to experience the world if you can't. But most of all, it's just recognizing whether or not you can or cannot control it. That's the question. The question becomes, is there anything you can even do? And like it was mentioned, yeah, regrouping is something you could do. That is control. That's something you can do. And recognizing, let's say, if you were wrong about something, or if you were right about whatever it is. And like I said, I'll go back to that. I will say that I personally, it's my personal belief that someone like Will is an example of somebody who thinks through what he does. And I love when he says it directly about like him getting started. He says, I'm petty. I am petty as an MF, I love when he says that. He's just being honest about, an aspect of whatever. But obviously he's not acting, just because he's petty, whoever said lead by example, I think that's the most phenomenal thing. And then it's like, after that, like, everything's up for discussion. No one has no one has a key to the front office of protesting Scientology. It's not like that. At the same time, it is an opportunity for people to recognize where they fall. For me, I am not consistent enough on a daily basis. Unfortunately, I do not have the opportunity to be out there every day. I kind of wish I did at some times, and at other times I know that my life is my life, and I do whatever I can do. And Friday is usually later in the day, and sometimes on Tuesdays. That's why it's not very, and I apologize for that for people that like to see anything I put out there, but I don't try to like put out a thing when I'm going to be live, unless it's like I'm talking about during the summer. There'll be a couple weekends where I'm for sure going to be live, and during those times I'm going to be putting it out there, and it'll be clear like when I'm going to go live, etc., etc., etc. But otherwise, I know where I stand. I know who I am. I know what I have control over. I know what my responsibility is, and I just try to act based upon that. So some went through a lot already. Let me see if we go back a little bit. I'm confident we will recover and come back just as strong or stronger. I agree. I just do not like how some are handling it. I don't like seeing anyone in tears. Yeah, I don't like seeing anyone in tears either. The streets came down to Big Blue a while ago to give Lara a hug and reiterate what a success the occupation was. He was in on the next one. I don't know what that means, but he was in on the next one. Some went through a lot already. Some are more sensitive. That's for sure true, by the way. I just prefer calm discussions over yelling and insults. Agree to disagree and move on. That's me, Lexianne. That is me. That's me. But I will say there are times that being loud is necessary. It's not like it's not an approach that's necessary. It's just know. Just know if that's what it's supposed to be. I know that it's not really my position to do so. Last week, I got angry. I don't know if what was even caught on live, but I had every right to be angry. There were kids around, and it was just really, really frustrating. And it's my neighborhood, so last week I got really angry. Yeah, it is all how anyone reacts to any situation. The cult will go down. Yes, it will. Will absolutely owns everything he says. That's why I'm saying I'm literally not saying any other names. The reason I feel so confident saying Will's name is because I feel confident saying that he knows what he's doing, and he's a very mature individual who knows how to approach these situations. He has experience doing this. This is not his first rodeo when it comes to this type of work. And he also put a lot of time and effort into making sure things went down correctly, and that he has a right to feel a certain way. And yeah, I don't like seeing anyone in tears either, but sometimes, listen, everybody in life, especially if you're a young adult, there's going to come times where those tears are sometimes necessary. But I'm not referring to, I've seen multiple people in tears, so I'm not referring to any one specific thing. I'm just saying sometimes you need to learn in life, and sometimes the only way to learn is by experience. At Lexi, I get it. So stick with the personalities you feel comfortable. Yeah, I agree with that too. Everyone has different ways to deal with stress, emotions, conflict, preferences. Yeah. Everything you guys are saying is pretty much exactly the way I feel. It's just about doing what you can do and recognizing what you do. Yeah, I like what you brought up about Will, that he owns it. That's why I said one of my favorite things when the first was like watching him doing the Scientology thing was he was like yelling at them. He's like, I am so petty. I'm petty as a MF. He was just going off about how petty he is and like he owns it and he doesn't care. And he's just like, and I mean, it was awesome. I think that he was 100% correct in that moment. I won't say anything that's like not totally public, but when they started talking about his kids, like, wow, that was just like, it was just, I think he responded very well. He also was physically attacked and could have smashed the people that attacked him and chose not to. I mean, in my opinion, that's a lot of restraint, because he could have easily probably smashed a few heads in, and he didn't. You've unsubscribed from some. That's interesting, and I think that's good if that's what you feel. This movement gained traction with Will screaming at Scientologists and insulting them. Many disagreed with the approach, which bordered on verbal abuse. Others have a loving approach. I agree, DT. I haven't subscribed from someone who's staying away from the drama. Yeah, that's smart. It's important for all of us to guard our own peace. Yes, very, very true. Very, very true. Guard your own peace of mind. I'll just, without getting into details, just because I'm not going to talk about people in my personal life, but really personal life, but something came up this week, and things kind of got flipped all over the place with some plans, important plans, and I just took the situation, and it's not even like I took the high road. It's not like the other individual or other individuals were doing something so horrible. It was more like I felt strongly about something, and certain things happened, and I just dealt with it. Sometimes sometimes I just want to go to literally just and this is bad. This is me. I used to be confrontational when I was younger, because I was I had a lot of frustration and anger towards the world and God and a lot of different things. But I know that for myself, once I let's just refer to it as matured. I still consider myself a child, but once I matured on some level, one of the things that's not the healthiest, but I recognize it is, sometimes I'll literally just want to, like almost like a drug, I'll just want to go to sleep when I get frustrated about certain things. And recently I got frustrated about some stuff, and I wanted to just go to sleep. I didn't want to deal with it. I literally wanted to let things just play out however they played out, but it would have affected other people. And ultimately I realized that that would have messed with my own peace of mind. So me not going out of my way to make sure that the other people, at least, there was one situation where there was some money involved, where that person doesn't care about money, but I could have just like let the situation go by, and the person would not have known about whatever happened with another individual. And I chose, which was not easy for me, to say, listen, I feel really bad about this, and this, but I just want you to know, and if there's an ability for you to recoup losses, and I'm really sorry that things didn't work out the way I thought they were going to work out, and I owned whatever my responsibility in that situation was. Now, it was a close friend, which hits twofold. When it's a close friend, on the one hand, you feel comfortable talking to them. On the other hand, when it's a close friend, especially if they're doing you a favor, you kind of feel really bad when all of a sudden, it's like you've asked them for something, and that thing that they've given you is for naught. And then it's like you've literally wasted their time, money, and everything else. So I just ask myself also sometimes, not just like, because I could have let it slide. The person would not have known that anything changed. They would have just kept on going in life. They would have thought that their contribution towards something was the way it was supposed to be. They would never have known the difference. And what I realized was, first of all, it was not fair to them, because there was the opportunity to possibly get the money back. But I just wanted to own up to whatever I needed to own up to. Everyone, and to be honest, the other people, they owned up to their part. They felt really bad about it, that were involved. So everybody kind of owned up to whatever their part in this little story was. And it was effective because everybody stayed calm. Nobody said anything nasty. Nothing was, that's the way I like doing things. My point about that, my story is, I had the inclination of, I just want to go to sleep. I literally don't want to deal with this right now. It's like, it's late at night. It's this, and this. I haven't slept. Last night. I'm up a lot because I speak to some family and friends overseas every single night for a long time. And then it'll, like, my sleep schedule, I try to go to sleep early, and then I wake up kind of in the middle of the night, and I'm on the phone a lot with overseas. Sometimes I'm overseas, but when I'm overseas, I actually get better sleep because it's a little bit easier. But even then, sometimes I have to keep in mind my people here in this country. The time zones are different, so it matters. But my point is that I was exhausted, and I really just didn't want to deal with a certain thing. And I just said, no, hell no, you got to deal with it. Good, Lexianne. Until next time, absolutely. Go make dinner, yes. I actually started late, and I would have loved to. I could have started a little bit earlier, but then I was on the phone trying to deal with some of the stuff that had gone down in my personal life. And then but I prepared I always prepare for the weekend first. And the reason I do that is, it's exactly like you guys are saying. I got to take care of myself. It's, for your own peace of mind, for your own sanity, you have to try to be living the most healthy and consistent life. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they avoid things, whether it's confrontation, whether it's doing what's necessary to make healthy choices in life, whether those are social choices, whether those are personal choices. Sorry, a phone call was just coming through. It doesn't really matter what they are. You have to ask yourself, what are you doing? And like, what's the healthiest thing for you to do as an individual, and how to deal with these situations. And I think that for myself, I know that the second I have the inclination, like, oh my God, I just don't want to deal with this, that's when I need to deal with it. So I just know for myself, it's okay if people didn't like the way that let's say Streets did certain things. That's their prerogative, you know. His approach, I think, is very effective. He specifically made the comment that in the beginning, sometimes it's necessary to start things off with that big push. I'm telling you, it's literally like the best way I could describe is like when I'm rolling or I'm sparring in jiu-jitsu. If sometimes I'm sparring with a guy, so my opponent, whether, you know, think of that as like Scientology, sometimes the approach is, oh, I got to swarm this guy early on in the fight. If I don't, you know, it's like playing chess. It's like physical chess. It's like how much energy am I going to put at this moment versus this moment? Okay, I'm fighting a guy that has like a lot of stamina. I got to keep myself, you know. It's just knowing what you're doing, and I think he has a good understanding of that. He himself talks about running marathons and stuff like that, so that's very relatable to this. It's like that. So I think that in the beginning of certain situations, especially like this situation with Scientology, I think that it is necessary for certain things to be intense and loud and people honking their horns. And then I think there does come a time where maybe it's not the best thing, and that's what I mean. It's like knowing what you can do, what you can't do, what you should do, and then most of all, just really recognizing, am I doing, you know, what I should be doing? Whether that's a personal choice or it's affecting other people, whether it's affecting you or other people, the question becomes very simple. What are you doing? And by the way, this is so ironic that things are going down, and if you really think about it, this is one of the things that Scientology is so nasty about. It's like they don't think about that. They just have this ultimate, you know, we have the only answer, and you have to, and we're willing to go to any length to, you know. And so it's actually great for anybody involved in this. And again, I refer to it as a movement, but in this movement, to say to themselves, wow, like this, the very thing that we're fighting, you know, they behave a certain way, and that's one of the things that we despise about them. And so it's good to sometimes recognize that, you know, we despise these very specific behaviors, and there's a reason we despise these specific behaviors, and, you know, move forward, and that's it. There's not much else to you know, say, do, any, you know, it is what it is. Everything else is what it is. There's not much else to be done. You just gotta push forward, and like you guys were saying, just like, it's all about how you handle things in life in general. That's really, it really just determines. And I've made big mistakes in life on how I handled certain situations, and I still make mistakes how I handle situations, but ultimately I'm sitting here in a park and I'm enjoying the day. But I was brought to this park because, like, the lake, the beach, if I wanted to just hang out in the sun and go swimming, I love going to the lake. It's like right here. But last week when I saw these Scientologists in the park and they're coming after families, I was furious. So today I've been out, and I did see a few people earlier. That's what I was saying. I wasn't able to go live right away. But last week, if you guys go to last week, assuming it wasn't taken down or something, I don't know. Some people said they didn't know that I was even live last week, but I don't have this huge channel, so it's not a big deal. Shabbat Shalom, DT. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom to you. Everybody should have a good weekend. But it goes back, by the way, to the most important thing for me when I'm looking into Scientology for what I'm capable of doing, is I like to point out the personality component that goes on within the context of Scientology. And it really does. You did see it, Twill. Okay, good. So somebody saw it. But Scientology has this, they strip away the identity. Like, there isn't even able to, like, politics are always very vicious in Scientology from the way that I have seen. You know, that's just the way that Scientology deals with things. They strip you of your healthy identity and your personality, and people lose touch with who they are. and then they just really get stuck with it, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's like any other trauma. You can take yourself away from the trauma, but you can't take that trauma away. Whatever occurred, occurred, and you're gonna have to live with that forever. It's like, it's a powerful, it's a powerful lesson in life when you, if you know anybody that's been through some hardships or trauma or whatever, you just know that at the end of the day, the bottom line is that you can't necessarily judge anybody because you don't know exactly what they've been through, and you don't know how it's affected them, and there's just so much you don't know. And unless you do know, it's not good for you to judge. If you know, then you know, as they say. There's a very famous sometimes when people are speaking and people don't understand necessarily what you're saying, but there's people out there, you're just trying to make a point. V'hamavin yavin. Those who understand, understand. Sometimes it's, like explaining things over and over again are just not even productive. It's like, you get it, you get it. There's not much more that can be said about the whole political component of what's been going on. Again, in Chicago, I have not seen necessarily that much, but there has been certain things that go on. Not me personally, like I have not been targeted. I don't feel like I've ever been targeted. I don't feel like anybody's necessarily been mean to me, or there was a couple times where I was approached about one or two things. I mean, I have no personal problem with anybody that's actually part of the core group. I don't have like a personal issue with anybody. I'm fairly loyal, so I might be more friendly, not more friendly. I might be closer to some of the individuals than the others. That doesn't mean I agree with what just because someone's my best friend doesn't mean I necessarily agree with everything they do or the other side. I don't immediately assume the other side's wrong. I try to look at the whole picture. But like I said, in Chicago, it has not been that tumultuous. And the day where like multiple personalities are out there is mostly Saturday, which is the day that I can't go out there. So I think that might be a part of it. I don't think that I am by any way, shape, or form perfect. I just guess that sometimes I'm not around when it's like a lot of people at once. And I just try to learn from the experiences that I have and move forward. And my goal is to bring awareness that Scientology is so destructive. And I want you to know, one of the thoughts that I've had is they're so destructive that they sometimes can create, let's call it infighting. Let's just use that word. I don't really like the word, but let's just use that word. They can create it. That's like how destructive they are. Like, there's so many other organizations, religions, movements, whatever it is out there that feel very strongly about certain things. And their goal is not to destroy other communities necessarily. It's like, I don't know. It's just, Scientology is just very good at bringing out I don't know. They're just very good at bringing out, like very... They're very good at bringing out, like, I don't want to say the worst in people, but they're very good at stripping you from your humanity. That's for sure. They're very good at stripping you from your humanity. And they're very good at taking away the autonomy that you have over the peace of mind that you have if you're involved in the movement, as I say. Again, I'm just using that word, but yeah. But I like that everybody put in their 2 cents. I know that you're able to on some level. I have to figure out how to like really keep it, but I like to keep the comments that are up there. And if I ever really feel like I need like a moderator immediately, Amy usually is awesome, and she'll do it for me. But in general, people have been really good to me. You guys have been great to me. No one's really literally one time in the chat, someone had made a comment, and Amy was there. She was very quick to just, it had nothing to do with Scientology. It had nothing to do with, it was just, it was I'm not judging that person, but somebody made a comment that was very inappropriate and was very quickly taken down. Everybody else has been super appropriate. You guys have been super nice, kind. Anybody that just comes to my channel to even watch, it's very nice of you. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'll have more interesting content during the summer. But I was thinking about it. It's interesting because I have kind of like an interesting life, and my experiences and whatever. And like every time I'm interviewed, when I'm done, I always have this thought of like, it would be awesome to just like allow someone to walk with a camera, like, just for like a while, and like see like what I could gain from like being live, just like at all times. I don't know. It's a thought that I've had, like, just be live at all times. I don't know if it would be effective or not for my growth or my peace of mind, but I do think of it as like something that would be interesting and potentially has games involved. But yeah, how many people are in there? The sun's kind of like blocked a little bit from the clouds now, so I could see. It's cool. We got 4 people in here. All right. Let me know what you guys are. I don't know if you guys are bored of me talking about that, but I went down a rabbit hole recently. Like I even went to the library, like to read books, smell the pages of books that have been written and published and are physical, and not just going online. Sometimes I feel like it's the best way to study. Sometimes I feel that way, but I really went down the rabbit hole about personality disorders and Scientology. And one of the things that the overwhelming theme, and I've mentioned this already, but I started a Twila says 4. I don't know what you mean 4. I must be missing something, but let me know, Twila. But 4 people that were in the chat. Yeah, there were 4. That's what it looked like. Yeah, I think that's what you mean. But my thing that it basically became clear, which is like so fascinating, is that it's so hard to understand the personality disorders within the context of Scientology because they take away your personality. So it's like it just ends up sometimes they're so destructive they literally take away your personality. You no longer even have that component. It's like, forget about personality disorders. It's like first let's know the personality, then let's talk about the disorders. It's like, I don't know, I found myself thinking that that's not funny in like in a serious way. It's not funny at all, but it's funny to me in general. It's amusing. It's amusing to me. It is. I will not lie. It is amusing to me. I do feel like it's interesting and funny at the same time. I do not. Yeah. I think it's hilarious, but sad, very sad at the same time. Give me a second, guys. More pocket time for 2 more seconds. Sorry about that, guys. I had to hydrate there for a moment. They would tell you that LRH thought and said, they will tell you what LRH thought and said. It would be tough to assess their personality. Yes. Sometimes it's not as tough as other times, because like I have seen certain people where there's hallmarks in their behavior in Scientology where I will tell you for sure, like, I feel confident that there are some of the bigger personalities in Scientology, whether they're in and out or used to be in or whatever, they're very easily, I mean, pretty much, you don't have to have like any real medical or professional training to recognize certain aspects, like, you know, like LRH, just like what he said, what he wrote down. It's pretty easy to literally diagnose certain aspects, and I'm not doing that, but I'm just telling you it's pretty easy. And the same goes for his the little guy that runs Scientology. I do find it funny that very often people don't feel comfortable making fun of like tiny people that have that complex, but I still laugh every single time someone says something about Miscavige. It just cracks me up. He is so consistently bizarre, and sometimes it's not difficult at all to recognize exactly who he is, what he's doing, what his goals are in life, like how he's approaching the world, etc. He is a very sick, twisted individual, and it's sad. And it seems like it's been that way for so many years that it's like very hard to change. And when you have a leader that is really rules on some level with fear, it's just never a good outcome, you know? In almost every religion in the world, when people refer to God, I would say the best way to say it is like the Abrahamic religions, which would include Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Like when I say, and by the way, if you guys ever hear me, I know sometimes it's a little bit ignorant, but if you ever hear me say like Christianity or Catholicism, I'm referring to religions that are based upon Jesus. I'm not like saying specifically Christianity or specifically Catholicism. In my mind, you know, I know there are differences, of course. In fact, I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but my bachelor's degree is in hold on, sorry, guys, somebody's trying to reach me. Please don't cut me off here. Let me just try to reply to this person. Please let me be back. Hopefully, guys, you still there? Did I lose you? I hope I didn't lose you guys. Well, I still see the comments, so I'm assuming that you guys are still there. Alright, I'm going to have to just ignore right now. There are important things that I have to... You're there. Thank you, Twilla. You're awesome. Yes, religious studies. Thank you. That's what I was talking about. Yes, my bachelor's degree, not only is it in religious studies, it's like one of the most significant schools to teach this. And it's actually a doctoral program, but it's not within the context of the system in America, but that is what it is. In you know, I do love the fact that I did it, and that is what I did. I spent high school. I was in very religious school, but eventually I kind of ran away from that, and then when I came back, I spent about 5 years intensely, I'm talking about like very intensely studying religion and spirituality, I would say in general, more so spirituality. But I can open up for my education, I can literally open up like old texts that people would never be able to read from. And I'm not just talking about, like, let's say the Bible in Hebrew, let's say. I can open up the Talmud, which is in Aramaic. I can open up something written in multiple languages in old school Europe. I can open up multiple, and it's being able to go to the source of where the information came from that I loved the most about what I studied. So, for example, one of the things I point out to people a lot of times when I'm talking to people in the, let's just call it Jesus-based religions that believe that Jesus is the Lord and Savior, the Son of, Immaculate Conception, religions that believe that. One of the things that I find interesting, and one of my best friends is part of that community. You guys saw him actually on one of my lives. He is one of the most intelligent people I know, literally. And he always tries to go to the source, but he always gets frustrated that he didn't have the opportunity to learn and study what I studied. And what I point out to a lot of the people, translations have biases. That is so, you have no idea how correct that is. It's insane. Like, I wish more people would recognize the fact that people take things and it's so out of context. Like, there's one specific book that I will just tell you, Ecclesiastes. It's a specific part of, in Hebrew, what we say Tanakh. In Christianity, they would say that it is part of, not the New Testament. They wouldn't say that, but it's not the original 5 books. It's like when the prophets and whatever. But point is, Ecclesiastes is such a brilliantly poetic, intense, and unbelievably like analytically based. And even in the Hebrew editions that have translation to English for those who want it, there's a famous company called ArtScroll, and they translate pretty much everything that was ever written in Hebrew or Aramaic, and they translate it to English. This is the only time you'll ever see this. They will say at the beginning of it, this is not a translation of this body of work. This is merely the best way to express what is believed is said. So they're explaining that there's no way in English that they could ever even have any form of true, real translation. It can't be translated. You can't. I'm just telling you, you can't. Like, there are things, famous lines that come from there that are taken so out of context. One of the things that I implore a lot of people that believe in the 5 books and the New Testament, whatever, I always say, like, where are you getting your information from? Are you reading what people wrote about X, Y, and Z? Are you reading what people actually wrote? I mean, when I studied religion in the Talmud, Jesus actually wrote things. I find it ironic that a lot of people that believe in that type of stuff do not actually study what he actually wrote. It's all based upon what his followers wrote about him. I just find it interesting. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it's interesting to me. And then it's translated, and it was translated into like Roman and Greek, and then translated into it was translated from, like, Hebrew to this, to Greek, to this, to that. And by the time it's in your hands in English, it's been retranslated so many times that it's no longer the most valid source to be looking at, because you have to just know that. And translation have biases by men. Yep. I will say that it's true. One of the things that I love, if you really look in the Old Testament, one of the things that I love is that the most significant component is actually the women. They play, if you really look at it, they really play the biggest role in everything. And sometimes it's more simple. I mean, sometimes people could say women have, in general, of course this is a generalization and I'm not the one saying this, but people say women are more emotional, men are more, listen, things are the way. There are so many different types of people in the world. Everybody could be any different way, shape, or form. But I will say that there's a focus in the Old Testament the original 5 books, what people refer to as the 5 books of Moses, that has a focus on women that no other text that I've ever seen has even close to a focus. So, but you probably meant by men, just like by mankind. Hang on, guys. I'm so sorry. There's someone that's really trying to reach out to me. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. Hopefully, I did not get cut off again. I apologize. Someone's trying to reach me. It would be interesting, actually, if this individual would just go live. They could come on and talk about what they want to talk about. It's easily, it would make things easier for me. I'll probably have to go soon. But yeah, no, I planned on at least till like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So, but my point is that in studying the various religions and the body of work that's created by so many different generations of so many different forms of so many different languages and so many different people, the best thing I always say is go to the source. And if you're learning or studying from someone, try to make sure that that person is getting their information from the source, like the actual source, not like what, so let's say I'm speaking to a rabbi in my community. Those that I interact with, they're constantly speaking from the source. None of them are like speaking as like, well, da 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 da. And yes, there are rabbis, very holy rabbis in Judaism, we consider them holy rabbis, that did, kind of quote unquote translate or interpret things to be a certain way. And we do believe that, but it's very clear that we believe that. What I was going back to is, and this is the main thing, when I started talking about this, I did want to explain for a second, and I'm happy, Twila, that you mentioned that. What I wanted to say, though, the main perspective that I have is, when we talk about God in general, it is supposed to be a humbling experience. It's supposed to be a opportunity that that you're super special, and that God considers you super special, and it's just it's not an opportunity to make yourself out to be like, take the ego, as they say, away. I don't like saying that so much because people use the word ego, and if they knew what it meant, just like from Freud, it's not exactly the way people just use that term, like, oh, a person's ego is X, Y, and Z. But if we're talking in terms of just that translation of the word ego, but you got to take the ego out of it, and then you just have to, again, I go back to it. I'll tell you, one of the most brilliant things that I've ever learned in my life, and again, this did not come from even a rabbi. I've learned and studied certain things that are almost exactly the same, but I was absolutely taught this. The first time it was ever mentioned to me, it came from someone in a church. I was having a conversation, and it came from someone in the recovery community, and I'll never forget. And I'll say exactly what he said, just so that I'm not misspeaking what he said. He specifically said this. He said, the Serenity Prayer is brilliant. It's not just like this, like little bit. It's absolutely brilliant. This is what he said to me. He said, if you think about it, the prayer goes like this: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's the prayer. If you think about its brilliance, think about it like this. It doesn't use the word ability. It says, God, if I can't change something, grant me serenity, like make me high, like literally euphoria. Let me experience euphoria. If I cannot change a situation, if I can't control it, let me feel euphoric about that. Just let it be. If I can change, again, it doesn't say the ability to change. It says have the courage, because to actually make changes, it takes a lot of courage to make very specific changes in life, right? So you have two of the most brilliant components about life. God grant me serenity. Like, don't even, if you don't believe in God, you just believe in a high, whatever it is, but feel serene if you can change something. If you are able to change something, have the courage to do it. But the killer here that I think is the most brilliant is the prayer is the wisdom to know the difference. The most difficult part, I would say, for me personally, in my life, and other people have told me that it is their experience as well. In fact, majority of people that say this line out loud, which I don't say it out loud as as much as many other people do, but they will say that it's their experience as well. The most difficult part is to know the difference. Like, please God, give me the wisdom to know what can I change, what can I not change, what do I have the ability to change, and what do I not have. If I don't have the ability, let me not only not be bothered by it, let me feel like, wow, I can't change this, so woof, no problem. Or, God, if I can change something, grant me the serenity. I'm sorry, grant me the courage. Give me courage to change the things I can. Because it takes a lot of courage. A lot of courage to make changes in life. A lot of courage. And most of all, it's to know the difference. So just, you got to know what you could change. You got to know what you cannot change. And you really hope that you know which is which. And once you know, recognize if you cannot change it, do what you got to do. If you can change it, have the courage to do so. All right, guys. Well, it looks like no one's in the chat room. I'll wait like another second if anyone says they're still here. But if no one's here, I don't want to take up from other. Male gender. Was in a synod that allowed me to be an altar girl. Okay. Same religion, different synod. Doesn't allow women to speak during services at all because they said only men were apostles. Okay, well, I will only say that in the world that I come from, not only is that incorrect, like that's not what my community believes, but I'll give you some brilliant thing that we do. So in the synagogues, men and women don't sit together. In the ultra-Orthodox synagogues, men and women don't sit together. And a lot of people think like it's like a disrespectful thing, like whatever. No. The reason we don't sit together is because men are the ones with problem. They're going to sit with women, and they're men. We're a bunch of animals. We can't control our thoughts and stuff like that. And we're going to sit there and try to pray when we're checking out some chick. The women, they sit and they can always look at us. In a lot of synagogues, like the nicer ones that are large in the community, they are built up in a way where it's one-way glass. It's literally the synagogue I grew up in, ultra-Orthodox. Actually, even though I didn't grow up from that specific genre, but Hasidic is the synagogue that I used to pray at when I was a little kid growing up. And the women, they had one-way glass. They could watch the men and pray, but we couldn't watch them. It's like women are actually more powerful. It's like we have to do all that we have to do because we have problems with so many different things. It's a whole thing, but not to get too involved in it. I know what you're saying. Yes, it is mostly by men. Yeah, I will. That is true. You are correct. And from my experience, one day, if anybody's really interested in this stuff, I'll have my friend who was on my channel one Friday. He's he's also super informed in the various Christ-based religions. He knows more about that I might have more general knowledge, getting a degree in it, but he has a tremendous amount of very real, from the source knowledge about, like I say, and I mean this in a most respectful way, Jesus-based religions. So hopefully I'll have him on. But Twilla, it looks like you're the only one in here. Osa left. Yeah. Twilla, you're right. That's awesome. Osa left. You're so right, by the way. It's awesome. They're listening to me ramble about this shit. It's awesome. Oh, you cracking me up, Twilla. That's awesome. Without giving too much information, Twilla, what part of the country? I'll give you 4 parts of the country just to make it simple. West, east, north, or south? Which would you say your area is generally considered? Is it west, east, north, or south? Or just tell me what time zone you're in. I'll know based upon that. I don't want people to have to say exactly where they're from, but I'm always curious to know the people that do listen to me ramble about this stuff. Always curious to know where they're from. It's interesting to me. I watched a very, very well put together. I don't know. He is a YouTuber. I'll even say what his name is. His real name is Caleb. I can't. He has this channel called Oompaville. He's very funny, and he's always kind of laughing at himself. And he's on the spectrum, which he talks a lot about. And so he has a very, very unique way of presenting certain things. But he recently put something out that was just fascinating. He did a lot. I realized how much research he does before he speaks on a topic, and I found it to be extremely well put together. And he's a good dude. He's someone that I always recommend people check out. You might not necessarily be interested in every single one of his videos, but he definitely put some content out there that is not. He has a way of putting things out there that I cannot compare him to any other YouTuber. I would say you have like influencer type YouTubers, like they could be in a category. I don't know, like those brothers. I forgot their names. I only know who they are because they're in like the kind of like in the martial art world. Paul. I can't remember the first names, but those brothers. So that's like a category. Oh, cool. You're actually, I think you told me that. I'm so sorry, Tula. I think you told me that. Why do you never come out? You gotta come out. Definitely let me know if you're ever gonna be out there. My email is pretty public, so anybody can email me. It's my full name at yahoo.com. For you, Twila, I for sure would give you any information that you wanted. Tony said he has ADHD. Tunnel vision, yeah. Oh, you were at the opening? That's so cool. That sucks that I never got to meet you. I was in the police station fighting with the cops because I had a ticket to actually get into the opening, and they wouldn't let me in. So I was watching Shannon's chat for the first time that day. And I had gotten into a huge fight about the fact they didn't let me in when I actually had a ticket. They were trying to make it seem like they're friends with all religions, and I was able to get a ticket because nobody in my community was going to go. So it was very easy for me to snag a ticket. And then I think that they just took one look at me and, you know, asked me my name and stuff. And, you know, I kind of was, I probably gave away pretty too quickly. It's hard for me to just like lie about that. I definitely didn't tell them. I was just, you know, but they figured it out and they did not let me in. And I was getting in an argument with the cops about my right to actually at least be in the area. I had a ticket. I had the right to be there. And there are laws about whether or not they're allowed to just throw you out for any reason. It's not private in the way that people think of like private. It's not like a building that's private. Like if I walk into a church and I'm unwelcome, they have every right to say you're not welcome. I'm sorry. This is not just, although it's somewhat public property or whatever, it's not. It's you know, it's owned by whatever. They don't own that street, so they had to get rights to be able to do whatever it is that they had to do. And I should have been allowed there from all legal, like from a pure legal perspective. I had every single right to be there, and they did not allow me in. I was very much sent away. It was hilarious to me, to be honest, but yeah, that's what happened with me. So, but yeah, it would be cool to meet you, Twila. You and Osa were the only ones. Like Scientology follows the rules and laws. Tula, you always crack me up. That's awesome. Oh my God, that's one of my biggest things. They have this God complex to the point where it's like you don't have to follow anything. Like it's so crazy. In Judaism, there's a famous line. There's this law that's called the law of the land. That there's certain things that even if in general, let's say you believe, one way or another about something, there's the law of the land, and you have to keep like. So, for example, it's literally considered a sin to speed. Like if you're a really righteous person, my dad does not speed. One of the reasons he does not speed is because it's against the law. One of the things he's thinking about, I'll just tell you personally, he's thinking about when he does that is, it's a sin. It's against what God wants. That is the law. Even if you are the best driver and you're able, I sometimes speed, and I consider myself a good driver and etc. But he just does not do it. And it's the law of the land. They do not care about the law of anything besides whatever LRH wrote in some science fiction bullshit. And it's just part of what, it infuriates me. Mostly because they hurt someone that I love so much. And Twila, it looks like either somebody else tell me who else is there besides Twila, or we know it's you, Osa. We know it's you. Oh, we're saying at the same time, Twila, see? That's what I said. Is Osa back? What's his here? I agree with you completely. I want to know. If you're not Osa, you make yourself known. If you are Osa, I got this park locked down. This is the only park in this neighborhood, and there will not be any soliciting in this park. Not under my watch, Osa. Not under my watch. You will not infiltrate this church. You will not infiltrate their property. You will not infiltrate these families that are out here just having a good time, enjoying themselves. You will not do so. No. No, no, no. You cannot. I give you no permission, Osa. I will take away your autonomy in this park. Kind of joking, but kind of serious. I definitely will do whatever I can. I will not allow them to target families and children. It's not under my watch, that's for sure. I will say that for certain. Shift change, state foundation change. Oh, God. I like your sense of humor, Twila. It's good. I scared them off. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing is that I cannot believe that, like, when Will got attacked, like, my body, like, I was literally having physical reflexes of, like, very strategic, slick, like, jujitsu, like, I'm at mixed martial arts, like, moves that I would have, like, not have been, it was just my body would have automatically reacted if I had been attacked, or if I had seen them attack anybody, especially, this is just me, a little bit old school when it comes to this, but if I see a woman being attacked, whoo, you better have a damn good defense system, because I will not. I grew up like that, and that's just the way that's the way my mind works. I will never ever, oh God, it's like he controlled himself, that's what I gotta say. But yeah, I did scare them off, right? I probably did scare them off. Somebody told me that they actually now are intimidated by me more. Like, I guess during the winter I'm wearing a coat and I'm not, like, wear a jacket or whatever. And then, like, during the summer I'm walking around, I get really hot and sweaty, and I'll be walking around in, like, a tank top and fight shorts coming straight out of jiu-jitsu. And somebody made a comment that I just don't look like someone that they want to interact with. I was laughing so hard. He did extreme. Turn the other cheek. Yes, he did. Yep. Yes, he did. I mean, in fight, in like terms, in like fight terms, he did take top position. So he did take mount, which is actually an effective position to be in. So he was in like the mount position, and then he was trying to be nice, and he even like kind of let the guy up, and the guy threw like a slicing elbow right at his face or hit him with something, and that's when he got even more messed up. And at that point, I would have been like, I would have taken the guy's back, or at least grabbed an arm and just like said, like, You know, either, as they say, tap, snap, or nap. Pick from the three. Tap, snap, or nap. That's what I have said it a couple times in my life, and I'm surprised that he didn't necessarily do so. He could have, and it really is tap, snap, or nap from my perspective. That's the way that I look at it. But Twila, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go because looks like everyone's shutting things down here. I would stay in just to chat with you. Twila, go on my my email. Send me an email. It's so you know my name, the name of my channel. Forget the numbers, the 7700. So just my full name at yahoo.com. Send it to Yahoo, not Google. My full name at yahoo.com. And just put your name in the thing, because I get like a lot of emails professionally and stuff. Just put your name in the thing so I know it's you. But send me an email. Still no changes. Yep. Charges, right? That's what I'm saying. Yes. That's my dyslexia kicking right in. Still no charges. I agree. It's insanity. I'll tell you that in Chicago, you can't get away with some of what they do out there with the protesting, like the way that they yell at cops and stuff. In Chicago, you really can't get away with that as much. But there is a component to your ability to defend yourself. And yeah. Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, send me an email, okay? To anybody else that's watching this on the replay, hopefully you enjoy some of the things I had to say. Check out the whole video. And thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom to you. Have the best weekend. And YG, if you're ever watching this on the replay, there's only like a couple of you that I know really well. Tula, you're definitely one of them. And I keep forgetting you're from Chicago. I apologize. I literally do have frontal lobe damage from the accident that I was in. But yeah, YG, I will be out obviously for the holidays next week, guys. So my Tuesday live, I might go on right before the holiday. There's a chance, but I'm not sure. So Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and L'chaim to everybody. And everybody should just be happy and peaceful and enjoy life and not be affected by things like Scientology, and be honest with yourself at all times, who you are, what you can do, what you can't do, and try to really recognize the difference between the two. All right, guys, peace out.